Nantekatazo, Kitorieza, Ezalobuka, Jekupengata, Onatekatazo, Lambuba, Lambuba, Lambuba,
Jumbo. Jumbo means what's happening, what's up? This is Nasheed Ali. I'm the storyteller for peace inside Black life. And every Sunday I come to you and I open up the Shamari Groundings program with a story and my harmonica. My harmonica from Pop Pop Grow Something. That's my grandfather, and he taught me how to tell stories, and he taught me how to blow. And I was just thinking the other day, Thursday, I was walking through North Philly, and he taught me as I was a child growing up. He said, grandson. I said, yes, Pop Pop, grow something. What is it? He said, you always got to relate to our people, our Black people with our hearts. You got to love our Black people. He said, you must have an undying love for our people. And I was small and really couldn't comprehend it. And he showed me what I was talking about and what he was talking about. He made me look at our people in a different light because we walked through North Philly, and a lot of the problems that we had then in the 50s, we got now. And it hasn't changed, it's just gotten worse. And that's what made me think about my Pop Pop Grow Something going through Francisville. Because Francisville don't even look like Francisville. You got all this development around and all this gentrification around. Miss Jones not there no more. Her house is not there no more. Around the playground, Mr. Brown is not there anymore. And in my mind, I was getting kind of sad because our people was clustered into this little corner. And in this corner was everything that you could think of. It was crime, and it was drugs, and it was rehab centers, while all around that area was developing. Back then, it was a little different. because we were fighting for a cause. We were fighting to get into Girard College. We were fighting to get black folks into construction. We were fighting to keep our properties good and clean. There was those block parties and the block captains, and they would come out every Saturday, and we took pride in what we had. And I was just thinking, it made me think about my Pop Grow Something, because I said, well, what went wrong? We fought to get our people into office so that they could help our people, but it don't look like it did any good. And then I reflected back on Pop Grow Something. Pop Grow Something said, grandson, he said, Nasheed Ali, he said, we're gonna walk through North Philly. We're gonna walk through Francisville. And I said, Pop Grow Something, I can't walk through. I said, it's gang wars. I said, if I leave this corner and go to the next corner, I might have to fight, or we might have to run. He said, no, we must have an undying love for our people, and we must relate to our people from our heart. I said, well, how do you do that, Pop Grow Something? So that's when he taught me a lesson with that harmonica. He said, okay, let's go down this corner here. So we went down the valley. That's what they call the valley. We went into the valley. I said, Pop Grow Something, come on, don't. He said, don't worry about it, you with me. And we walked down that street, and that street had everything on it. They were fighting, they was boxing, they was looking at you all me. We call it gritting. They was gritting on you. They was gritting on me and my grandfather. And as we walked through the middle of it, he said, we must have an undying love for our people. He said, I expressed that through my harmonica. He pulled it out and he started playing as he walked down the street. I said, oh my, because I was a young boy back then in the 50s. In the early 60s, I was a young boy. I said, oh no, Pop Grow, don't pull out the juice, huh? But he pulled out the juice, huh? And he walked through the neighborhood, and he walked through the neighborhood. I saw what my Pop Grow Something was saying. He said, you gotta have an undying love for our people, and you gotta relate from the heart. The love has got to come from the heart, and it's got to be genuine. And he had that, and he started blowing. And when they heard that, the gang war boys stopped gang war. The corner boys from the other corners, they stopped boxing. The families came out and they smiled. And everybody spoke to him. Everybody knew him because he would go around the neighborhood and he would play his juice off. And they said, Pop Grow Something. And he would introduce me. He said, yeah. He said, I know y'all was waiting to hear that because when I play it, I see that you smile. He said, but look, I'm going to teach my grandson how to play it too. And he's going to walk through the neighborhood one day and he's going to take my place and he's going to blow his harp and he's going to tell you stories. He said, you got that? And everybody in the neighborhood, everybody in the village, wherever he walked, they said, yeah, Pop Grow Something. We know you love us. If you love us, we love Nasheed. And when he gets grown, our children will love him too, as long as he has an undying love for his people and a genuine love, and he blows that harmonica when he goes through the neighborhood. So with that, I'm just saying, we gotta have undying love for our people, because these are some difficult times we find ourselves in, but we always had difficult times, but we always had love for our people and love that came from our hearts. That's the story of my Pop Grow Something and why I blow this harmonica. Peace to you.
You got to close out the harmonica story with some harmonica. Just a little bit.
people in the village used to smile when Pop grow something when they heard this. He could go anywhere, anytime, any place. He would break up fights, break up gang wars. He would break up domestic fights just by blowing his heart. They loved his heart and they loved him, and he loved his people.
Yeah, that's the same spirit that we tried to do with the spirit of the drum. And you asked me earlier about, you know, when we gonna get back out there. So we planning on near the end of April for that same spirit, man. It's the same reason, that same energy. It's really about presence in the spirit of love, loyalty, black love, black loyalty, and black life. And I think that our village needs to heed that call. That doesn't mean we all need to be walking down the street playing the harmonica, but we need to be present in the spirit of love, in the spirit of loyalty, in the spirit of black life in our village. That's one thing that we sacrificed over this last COVID year. But we actually been sacrificing it a little longer than that. And I think that that's going to be the key to our redemption and our resurrection. You hit on something a little bit today about what I want to focus on. So while I got you, I'm gonna test my question out on you, and then hopefully callers can call in and weigh in. I've been doing this thing I'm calling right now. It's called Sketches on Soul Power, and it's kind of a takeoff of Miles' sketches of Spain, and just some sketches of some things we need to do for the love of black children. And I believe that we need to raise up black power for the love of black children. So power, you know, they had these 4 functions of power, you know, or 4 directions, you know, power over, power with, power to, and power within. And I think that I've been trying to find a moment, and this is the question. I add a 5th power, and that's the power for. And I'm struggling to figure out when have our young people in particular been able to witness black people collectively, not individually, as a collective, exert our power for them. I know we have moments when we've come against them, or we might have moments when we've protested things that happened to them. But when have black people in the last 50 years collectively galvanized and utilized our power for the love of black children? That's the question I want to ask and answer. It's not a rhetorical question. I want you to call and give me an answer to that question. And then part 2 of that question is, if we had to pick one area within the next what remains of 2021, where in the city of Philadelphia, we're committing as black people to come together for the sole purpose of exercising our power for our children on a particular issue or stand, what should it be? So part 1 is a historical question. When have we, over the last 50 years, collectively as a group of people, exercised our power for black youth? And then if we were to galvanize our power and use it and exercise it for the love of black children, in what area should we do so? With a focus on the city of Philadelphia. That's our question today, 215-634-8065. Again, that's 215-634-8065. Toll free 866-361-0900. We got some reflections and sketches on soul power today on Groundings, Evolutions, and Elevations with Brother Shamari. So Pop, any thoughts on those 2 questions?
Yeah, yes, I do. The historical piece. You know, first I thought the Million Man March, you know, when we came together with the Million Man March, because we focused on, black men focused on healing so that they could go and help the children and bring them forward.
Okay.
Because you have to be strong and you have to be healthy in order to bring the village forward. And the village is children, it's family. Family is everything. But then I thought about when we went on the front line, Martin Luther King, Montgomery, Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, when we did it for the children were with us. Like it was the children's struggle also. So we did it together. We did it intergenerationally. We did that. When they put the hoses on the children, the adults were there too. So we had that, even in South Africa. You know, when they had Johannesburg and the children took the front line.
Yes.
So within the 50 years, we were there as a village, but it was for the future and it was for the youth. It was for the children. So children were a part of it. Or, like I said, the Million Man March, where a million men came together and made a pledge.
And I'm looking in the spirit of the question more towards the first one, where we as the elders and the adults of the village said, we got this for you. This is our fight, our power. We're going to use our power for you. So that, you know, like not, because our young people, in my opinion, have been forced to fight a lot of fights that they shouldn't have to fight, because these are some things that our elders and our adults should take up on their behalf. So I'm looking at a time when our young people could say, you know what, you know, my old heads got that one. The old heads, the elders, the village has taken care of that fight for me because we shouldn't have to fight it. I want us to think about that. So I think that the Million Man March is in alignment with the spirit that I'm looking for. Again, I'm thinking about young people under 16 who could look up and say, you know what, our elders, our old heads, our village went on the forefront of that rumble on our behalf.
And what should we do now?
Yeah, we
how should we
focus with that?
Yeah, how are we gonna step now? We should step with the violence that's going on, because the children can't play. You know, there used to be a song, you know, let the children laugh, let the children come and play. Right. Santana, you know, dance, children dance. It was always about the children. But now they don't have a place to play. You don't hear laughter anymore. You don't hear laughter in the schools. You don't hear laughter in the street. You see tears. You hear them crying. So we've got to step forward. You know, we can't have no PowerPoint presentation. You know, I want to see the man on the front line saying, yo, you know, I got you. And then the children look and say, I got you. You know, we know we in good hands. You know, if you give me a PowerPoint presentation, I saw you on the front line. Mayor ain't been on the front line. You know, he ain't been to jail. He ain't talked to those brothers in jail. He ain't been on the street and talked to those brothers. He ain't went and outreach nowhere. But he's going to give us...
presentations don't work?
Hey, they don't work in that. So that's what we should do now. We should do the violence so our children can have a safe place, a safe corridor, as they once came up with that concept. Safe corridor, safe space, safe place to say, yo, we got this. Ain't gonna be no shooting around here. Ain't gonna be no gun violence around here.
All right. I usually don't do this, man, but for some reason, Rick from Germany wants to talk directly to you. So before we go to commercial break, Rick from Germany, real quick.
Brother Najib?
Yes, sir.
I just want to know where you stand on giving the young people the vaccine.
Well, you know, where I am, Brother Rick, is trying to build up my immune system itself, because it's, you know, the vaccine deals with the immune system. It's supposed to be. But I don't know. To ask you a question, I'm not really, you know, I'm last in that line.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer.
So I'm last in the line to do that.
I think our children need to be behind you, you know. So
yeah.
So I appreciate your answer, my brother. Come up on a commercial break. When we come back, if you want to join our conversation, hit us up at 215-634-8065, y'all. I'm asking about power. Number one, I want a concrete example of when we as a black village, the elders and the old heads of the village, have utilized our power for black young people. When I say young people, I'm talking about under the age of 16. When have they been able to look back and say our old heads took care of that for us? And then number two, what area of focus should we commit to using our power on behalf of our young people? Because I think that that's a very important moment. I think it's very hard for us to ask our young people to follow us, to listen to us, to believe in us, when there is not anything concrete, that a fight that we are taking up on their behalf. And I think it's time for us to step to the plate and do that. We fight against them often. We might even fight with them. We might fight side by side, whatever. I'm talking about, what is it that we need to take and say, you know what? We as the elders, we as the adults, we as the old heads, we got this. We on point on this for you because you deserve it. Your future's at stake, and it's up to us to deliver that. So hit us up at 215-634-8065, toll free, 866-361-0900. Pop, we will talk with you at the end of the show. Good talking to you, sir.
All right, brother. See you quarter of.
Yes, sir. Come up on a commercial break. When we come back, we'll hop to the phone lines right after these messages.
You probably heard it before, but one of the best ways to stay safe from COVID is by avoiding crowds. That's better. Also, when you're out in public, make sure you stay 6 feet away from strangers or people you don't live with. It's okay to say, "Can I have some space, please?"
Well, it's going to be a beautiful sunny day today, and we can expect much.
If you're gonna have a get-together with friends and family, have it outside. And remember to keep those 6 feet of social distance. And last but not least, wear a mask that covers your nose and mouth with no gaps. They slow the spread of COVID or new forms of the virus called variants. And make sure you get your vaccine when it's your turn. We're all out here trying our best, and it's making a difference. We just gotta keep it up. We can do this.
To learn more about slowing the spread, visit cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Want the latest in WURD swag? Check out the shop tab on WURDradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WURDradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black. Talk media. Livelihood, WURD Radio's new initiative, connecting Black Philadelphians with jobs, entrepreneurship resources, small business development information, and financial literacy tools. Tune in to WURD Radio for our weekly livelihood segments and every weekday show. For a full schedule, visit WURDradio.com/livelihood. For more information on livelihood, visit WURDworks.com. That's WURDWORKS.com. Groundings with Brother Shamari right now on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com.
And welcome back to Groundings, Evolutions, Elevations, Brother Shamari. We're talking sketches on soul power today. Continuation of our conversation on Friday. You know, one of my favorite African proverbs is power must be handled in the manner of an egg. Handle it too roughly, it breaks; too loosely, it falls. I feel like we're handling our power a little too loosely, particularly on behalf of creating the future for our Black children. We want them to listen to us and respect us and follow us, but we gotta, I don't know. I could think about a lot of times. I think about the hip hop stuff and see Dolores Tucker, and I think about all the blame that we cast upon our young people. And I don't know that our young people could really sit back and say, you know what, our old heads, our elders, our village handled that on our behalf. As bad as our schools are, as bad as policing is and killing our young people, I don't know one time we showed a power show, a show of force on behalf of our young people, where our young people could look, not that they had to lead or participate, but they could look and know that their elders were holding it down. Definition of terms before I jump to the phone lines. My definition of power is the energy or the force needed to make a desired phenomenon happen or not happen. Power to make things happen or not happen to you. It's the energy or force needed to make a desired phenomenon happen or not happen. Power is what makes you human. And when I talk about man, I'm talking about an acronym: manifest, actualize, and negate. You have to have the power to make things manifest, to make things actualize, and to negate those things you don't want to happen. That's power. If you listen to Dr. Tom Gordon on our previous episodes, he talked about sources and bases of power. He said you can have legitimate power, coercive power, expert power, informational power, reward power, connection power, and referent power. I think right now most of our referent power is on the side of white supremacy. Actually, I'm going to stop using that word, and I'll go into detail about that. It's not even about the word. It's about that. I don't even think that that's the issue. I think that the issue is more anti-blackness than it is white supremacy that we have to deal with. But right now, referent power is anti-black whiteness. A whole globe, by the way, that's, more and more increasingly becoming structured on the idea of anti-blackness. And so in that vein, you have directions of power, ways you can direct that energy and that force. Power over other people, which is kind of like this dominant submission kind of thing. Power with, that's partnership. The power to make something happen, manifest, or actualize. So the power within, that power, that energy that comes forward from within you, that soul power. And I add a fifth one that I don't hear a lot of the literature or a lot of people talk about, and that's the power for. Our children, they should be able to expect that the village and the baba and the mama and the leaders and the teachers utilize power for them until they're enabled to act power on their own. Y'all know I talk about the movie The Matrix a lot. That's one of the things that made Morpheus unique. Until Neo understood how to fight, Morpheus had to fight for him. Morpheus had to take on some of those battles until Neo was ready to battle on his own. Where have we, in the last 50 years, where can we look to say, yeah, that's when we stepped up as the village, as adults, as the mamas and the babas for our children and exerted our power for them? And as importantly, what's an area, a battle, an action that we need to declare that we as a village, as the mamas and the babas, will take action for our children? We will exert our power for our children in this area in 2021. Those are the two questions on out for consideration. 215-634-8065. Toll free 866-361-0900. Let's go to Reverend Joe if he's still there. Reverend Joe, line 1, greetings.
Black, can you hear me?
I hear you now, yes.
Okay, I respect you, Brother Samari. I want to go back 60 years where Cecil Moore and 400 black ministers made corporations give black men decent jobs where they could buy a house, a car, whatever it may be. And I was one of them. Tasty Cake, General Motors, Trailway, Coca-Cola, Nabisco, companies like that. They made them give a black because Tasty Cake said they would never have a black driver. And Trailway said, no way we're going to have a black man driving a Trailway bus. Well, Cecil Moore, the pressure was put on and brought those companies to their knees, and they changed up. And one last thing I want to say.
Hold on. I can't let you get off. I got to challenge you like I did Popeye, because I think that's a good example of what I mean by power for. Now, the challenge I have is that wasn't necessarily and specifically for black youth. I want to know when our black young people could look up and say, you know what, I saw our village and our elders take a fight on our behalf to deliver on an issue that directly impacts us. Now, I know you can make the case that having a good job, your daddy having a good job, indirectly or directly impacts young people. But I think our young people need to see.
Amen.
We talk about all these waiting for Superman, and we need. When can our young people point and say our village was our superhero on our behalf?
You are absolutely right.
I think the fact that we're going to struggle to figure this out, because I don't know that there's a lot of examples we could point to, particularly in the city of Philadelphia. And I think that that's an indictment on our village.
But I'd like to leave you with this here. 53 years ago tonight, 2 people were killed at the Lorraine Hotel. Dr. King and the black lady that owned the hotel, her husband owned the hotel. She dropped dead at the switchboard when Dr. King got shot. Now, what I'm saying about this, she's an unsung hero because she was one of the few motels in the South that would let entertainers check in without paying them money first, because half the time we didn't have the money to pay first until we sang. And she was a real unsung hero. She had a first-class motel. That's what Dr. King and all entertainers would stay.
I appreciate you doing it, because I know today is Easter, but I was at a group today, and I made sure that we remember that today is also the day that Dr. King was assassinated. But I don't want you to leave me, Elder. I need you to try to answer both parts of our question.
I'm going to agree with you. I don't know.
I know you agree with me, but now so in 2021, what area would you say we need to declare on behalf of our children that we're going to use our power to deliver for them?
The schools.
Okay.
And also the churches, because I think half the stuff churches are talking about, the young people ain't going to fall for that now. So we got to change all that up. And actually, I'm guilty of the whole thing. I never interacted with young people until maybe a year ago. And I think that's what's wrong with a lot of older
people. You're doing a great job. I could never tell it was a year ago, but you do a great job, sir. I appreciate you. You motivate me, so that's a good thing.
My wife this. Well, keep the good work up. I love you.
Love you too, Reverend Joe. Let's go to Khalil, line 3. Greetings.
Greetings to everyone in the studio. How's everyone?
I think we're doing good. I can't speak for Ngakia.
Well, I think that we make the mistake of looking at the black community as a collective without bearing in mind that some segments of the community has aligning themselves with international finance capitalists, and that's who they serve. So those victories that we have had, I'll take 60th Street against drugs, where I was introduced to struggle as a young man, teenager, by Imam Asim. But it was a national program where we saw our elders and big brothers making the streets safe for us. We were under the leadership of Imam Jamil Alameen, H. Rap Brown.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. So that he was a national leader, and then there was a branch here in Philly?
Yes. He was head of the National Jamaat. But not only were we doing it, it was brothers and sisters in New York, the December 12th movement, Men United Against Crack. Some of those brothers.
About what year was this?
This was late 80s, early 90s.
Okay, cool. See, I was in D.C. at this. Okay, cool.
So we had victories, but one of the things that we failed to realize in that is that, I'll talk locally, some of the segments in our communities, what we would call lumpen, or people with criminal mindset, and some of our petty bourgeoisie, our black middle class, united with organized crime and a political structure to put pressure on people who were fighting that fight. And a lot of people across the country went to jail, and they'll never get out. That's one of the reasons why I believe Imam Jamil is in jail now. He was charged for shooting 2 sheriff's deputies, even though there was someone else who admitted to doing it. And one of the surviving deputies said that they shot the person, and the person who admitted to the shooting was actually shot, while Imam Jamil was not.
Brother Khalil, let me see if I'm understanding what I think I hear you saying. What I think I hear you saying is that those moments when we have, with our own autonomy, taken up things on our own behalf, it's been countered by Negro, bourgeois, lumpen, or what I would call the N-word element, the thug element, in coordination with the state apparatus that has tried to suppress our ability to take care of business on our own terms. That's what I think I heard you say.
That's what I'm saying. Great way to put it. And I think what we need to do now for our youth is to build alternative institutions.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that we should never have them pay all of this money to go to college, when we have retired teachers right in our communities, and we could go to the churches and the mosques, get them state certified, and they can actually teach our people, and they never have to leave the city.
That's right. I'm with you, sir. I think we need to declare these areas because I think our young people need to see us deliver. It's almost like being a lion cub. You need to know that your mommy and your daddy going out there, and when they come back, they coming back with a wildebeest or a gazelle or something so that we can eat. We need to deliver a future on behalf of our children. We got to declare where that's going to be. I firmly believe that.
I agree.
Well, I thank you for your call, my brother, and thank you for the history lesson.
You.
Let's go to Leroy, line 2.
Hey, Brother Samari, how you doing?
Hey, Leroy, how are you?
I'm doing balls good.
It's that Leroy. Okay, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing balls good, man. I'm coming late to the dance. I just heard your question, and I'm going to try and answer. In the early 70s, a bunch of us put together some independent schools. One I was most affiliated with the Affordable House of Goods on 19th in Columbia. We put together the Institute of African Learning.
Okay.
And we affiliated, and we raised the money for the schools with stands downtown, vending stands. And we taught the children, the young people, how to make the incense down in the basement, and we through the Civil House of Goods we went shopping throughout Africa and South America, and bought goods and taught them entrepreneurial stuff. Some of them are still doing it.
Right. Now your phone is a little fuzzy. Can you say the name of the school again? Because I'm not picking that up clearly.
Okay. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, much better.
Okay, good. We started these independent schools,
right.
And we had several of them. The one I was most affiliated with was Institute of African Learning. My son went there. Farouk was teaching there, and there was a bunch of us teaching there. And it was all we raised the money and sustained it with vending stands downtown,
right. Cool.
18th and Market down, and we made the incense in the basement. We shopped through the Affordable House of Goods throughout South America and Africa to get goods to sell to maintain this stuff.
Wow, that's powerful. That's great.
Plus we gave, everybody was working. I was working in a factory, and we gave our money to do it.
That's right.
We combined the schools with other independent schools like Freedom Library Day School, run by John Churchville and his mother.
I've been trying to find. I've heard of that school. I always wanted to try to interview him because I always thought that was an idea worth replicating. I could never find him.
Oh yeah, he's powerful. He's still around. He's up this way too, in Germantown. John Churchville is the awesome brother. We work together,
yes.
And we put that all together with Nedam Musasa, which was Mjenzi and Fasaha, and the Kazana household. Did you know them?
I didn't know them, but I think that the brother, what's my brother Sharif's name? I think he's a product of the school. The brother was at Mastery for a while.
We went up to New York and tied it together with the East, with what's his name? J2 Riusi, or Les Brown. What's his name? I think it was Les Brown, but his name was J2 Riusi, Big Black. And IDME and that crew up there, and we put together a little trucking thing out of Detroit, and they went down into Baltimore, had farms down there, and raised the farms, and we saw all of Watoto saw us doing this stuff.
Right, that sounds
and
powerful.
They appreciated it.
Yes, I said that sounds powerful. That's the kind of models that I need us to know that we've done before, and that we actually need to do again. So in 2021, what area of focus would you say we need to exert our power for our young people? What area?
I think in education we need to. We got sidetracked, I think, by got bought out. Got some public funds, and the charter schools are a beautiful test. We the difference between the charter schools and what we did, we supported our schools with our own funds.
Right.
And there way nobody could tell us what to do.
Correct.
Even our sister Clara Muhammad was part of a network, and we formed a network and had independent schools and had black parents, and we had conferences. We brought in IRE and brought in.
Were y'all part of CB, or did y'all organize outside of CB?
Outside of it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and we brought in Sister Frances Quest Welsing for one of our first speeches she blew us up, man.
Yeah, I can believe that. We focused on her last week, so I'm glad you brought her up again.
Yeah, she blew us up, man. You know, she didn't pull no punches. She started out. You know, how many of your brothers got a nice crib? You know, people raise their hand. And you got a beautiful mama in there? And yeah. You know, said, well, that's why they call y'all MS.
Yeah.
So we're going to go there, you know.
Well, I appreciate the history lesson. I'm hoping that I got to believe in Philly, man. We have some. I was a little boy in the 70s, so this is the kind of stuff I want to know. I want to know over the last 50 years or so, you know, what are the models of us on our own dime and our own autonomy and with our own power, where our young people could sit back and see that our elders, our babas and mamas delivered using their own power. They delivered for us. And I think we need to declare where that is going to be in 2021. We have to bring that to fruition for our young people who are watching us and needing us to deliver something on their behalf. So I thank you for sharing that, brother.
I agree with you. Peace.
Coming up on the commercial break, if you want to get into this conversation, now's your time. Hit us up at 215-634-8065. Share a little bit of Philadelphia history and Philadelphia future, y'all. Power for the love of black children. Where has it been shown over the last 50 years in the city of Philadelphia? And where do we need to display it? Where do we need to manifest it and actualize it? Or negate other people trying to impose their power on us, because that's a form of power as well. And I think we need it in all of those areas. 215-634-8065, toll free. 866-361-0900. We always talk about what our children are not doing and what our children aren't doing for us. What do we need to do for the love of black children? Talk with you after these messages.
Okay, Her's new fire potato chips and cheese curls, they are spicy. Whew, they're hottest snacks yet. Hold on. Whew. But you know, it's not just heat. There's some nice sweet and savory stuff going on too. Ooh, there's that heat again. It burns, but it burns so tasty. Ooh, that's hot. Find Her's Fire Snacks at your store today. Whew. Taste the flavor, feel the heat, break out the Her's.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy.
Are your children getting on your last nerve? And they do know where your last nerve is. This time of taking flu shots and getting testing for the virus and making decisions on which vaccination you should take. You may be all stressed out. Yelling at children and young people and hitting them will not accomplish the goals that you want. Here are a few thoughts and suggestions that are nonviolent and will bring you peaceful results in your family relationships, especially during this pandemic time. Lower your voice as you speak. Sing songs like BB and CeCe Winans. Lord, lift us up where we belong. This may lift your spirit. You may want to be alone and just think sometimes. Just got to get by yourself and think. The children are watching. They too are grieving COVID-19. 500,000 people. Many of us will remember. 500,000 people. We will remember this for years to come. Yes, we must learn to breathe again.
Need to replace your Social Security card? In most states, you can request one online with a My Social Security account. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can also get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Groundings with Brother Shamari right now on WURD Radio and WURDRadio.com.
Oh,
Groundings, evolutions, elevations with Brother Shamari. Y'all remember that from Friday. That is Mwalimu, which means teacher, Kiswahili word teacher. It's a teacher, songs about teacher or becoming a teacher of the beautiful day to come, the beautiful days to come. That is the role of the teacher. And so, talking a little bit about those beautiful days, y'all, it's time for us to exercise and exert our power on behalf of our young people for the love of Black children to bring forward the beautiful days to come. And I also want to look back and remember some of those beautiful days where we've exerted our power for the love of Black children. Actually, I'm going to be honest with you. When I started out on this interrogation, I assumed it would come back fruitless. I was ready to go. Yeah, we ain't do nothing. But I want to give a shout out to, let me get it right, Brother Leroy, Brother Khalil, and Brother Joe so far, because you all are reminding me that we have done some things. You are educating me on the fact that we've done some things. I like you. I'm going to appreciate bringing up the name of John Churchville, bringing up the name of some of the independent Black schools. I remember when Philadelphia used to be a city that was replete, almost like the capital of independent Black schools, y'all. And I think that we need to remember that sometimes we did some things on our own because it's what our children and what our people needed. And I think that energy and that spirit has to be resurrected, because we have to start using power for the love of Black children. So I'm going to ask again, hit me up at 215-634-8065. Toll free 866-361-0900. Since 1970 or so. I'm using the last 50 years. I don't know why I chose that, but just want to start there. Educate me in the city of Philadelphia, where we as a village, Black people, the mamas and the babas, the organizations and the leaders, the churches, the mosques, the bimbes, it does not matter. I want to know when we've exerted and exercised our power for our Black children, an issue that directly impacted them, to say, you know what, Mama and Baba, we going out, we hunting, and when we come back, we're going to bring back something that you can gain your sustenance from. We will deliver for you. And then the second part of that question, the other side, is where in 2021, what area do we need to focus that declaration on? What fight do we need to win on behalf of our children? Right now, most people have weighed in and said it's in the realm of education. But I'm wondering your thoughts at 215-634-8065, toll free 866-3 615-661-0900. Later on in the 7 o'clock hour, I'm going to focus a little bit on some Sunday school, and I'm going to talk about family, the crisis and the resurrection of the black family since we're in Easter season. Oftentimes we talk about male-female relationship, or we'll talk about the youth. But we need to remember, as the libation statement says, that the war is against the black family. It's against African culture, and especially against the black family. And so we need to talk about how we as a family begin to solidify ourselves to win this assault that's against our integrity, against our character, and against our essence. Let's go to Tony, line 1. Greetings.
Greetings. How's it going, bro?
How you doing?
Good, man. I was thinking about a place where we have educated our black children. But I also wanted to say, I've been, since the pandemic, since January, I've been doing some educating, and I've been doing some teaching.
Okay.
And it was just brought to my lap. I have a theater background, and there was a school district in New York City that was looking for theater or artists as teachers to come in and to teach their children remotely. And I was teaching first grade. I was teaching third grade. I'm teaching fourth grade right now. But Freedom Theater was a place.
Good one.
Where, what'd you say?
I said that's a good one.
Yeah, Freedom Theater, man. It's no longer around. But it was started by John Allen Jr. and Robert E. Leslie. And these two brothers, man, they got together in '68 and decided that they wanted a place where African children can be educated in theater, dance, and in the performing arts. And not only that, but I think what they set out to do was to teach leaders, because a lot of the offspring from Freedom Theater have become leaders, and there's no way really you can thank them, but just going out there and serving your community and being the best leader that they produced. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Give me a good. Let me see how much time I got. I'm going to ask you to hold on for a second because I'm curious. When I come back, I want you to school me a little bit about, kind of from a curriculum perspective, what the elements of teaching theater are that you think make it a powerful subject matter for young people to learn as it relates to enhancing their leadership. You think you can school me a little bit on that?
I can try to. Absolutely.
Yeah, just hold on for a minute. Come up on the commercial break. When we come back, I'd be curious, as you're teaching first, second, third, fourth graders and you're teaching theater, you mentioned, kind of from a power and leadership perspective. So I'm just wondering some of the elements that you put into your pedagogy that you feel black children walk away from more empowered.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. Come up on the commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Brother Tony. And if you want to join us, 215-634-8065, toll free. 866-361-0900. Talk with you after these messages.
COVID vaccines are here, and black physicians and scientists help to develop them. So I feel good about getting the vaccine. And with new forms of the virus now spreading, I know we need to keep up everything we're already doing. Masking up, keeping that 6-foot distance, and avoiding crowds. COVID's been doubly tough on us, so let's double down to take it down. We can do this. Learn more about getting the vaccine and slowing the spread at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
The Black Words Book Club. WURD Radio's new monthly conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. For April, WURD Radio is partnering with the Free Library of Philadelphia and showcasing their pick for its annual citywide reading program, One Book, One Philadelphia, entitled The Tradition by Jericho Brown. Be sure to listen live, as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it. Tuesday, April 13th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for WURD members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher. more, concentrating on authors of color. This is not a fad for us. We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD. Groundings with Brother Shamari. Right now on WURD Radio and WURDRadio.com.
And welcome back to Groundings, Evolutions, Elevations with Brother Shamari. And we're talking power, y'all. Sketches on soul power. Our functional definition today is power is the energy or force needed to make a desired phenomenon happen or an undesired one not happen. Power makes you human, makes you manifest, actualize, and or negate those things you don't want to have happen. So I'm asking, when have we, over the last 50 plus years, used our power specifically for the love of black children? And right now we have Brother Tony on the line talking about Freedom Theater as an example of that. And also, as he mentioned that he teaches theater to elementary age children, I just want to know, what are some of the elements of power and leadership that are included in that pedagogical approach to teaching theater to black children, Brother Tony?
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing?
Yeah, I also wanted to say April 4th, 1968, you know what I'm saying? Can't ever forget that day, you know what I mean?
Yes, definitely.
All right, but so at Freedom Theater, it definitely takes a village, and there was a village that was incorporated in raising these children and raising me. There was a brother named Tom Page who wasn't a founder of Freedom Theater, and he stood on the sidelines, and he was just one of the spokes in the wheel. It was just so powerful, man. He had this thing that he would do, the ABC of learning, man, and he'd always be confident, always to the zeal that you need. You know what I'm saying? To be who you need to be as an African person living in America. So one of the things about theater, man, is it's about taking your space, owning the space that you're in. And you have to let children know that the space where you're standing on stage, you have to own that. And you have to let the people in the back of the auditorium hear you and see you. And you do that with your voice. You do that with your body. And you do that with your face. You don't even need to say anything. You can just walk on stage, and you can give that power, and you can have that power. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we talk about one of the things that we start off with in my class is talking about props. Just something that you use to help further the story, you know. And you take a prop, anything you want. You pick up something out of your room, and I need you to turn that into 5 different things. You know what I'm 5 different things you can use with that prop, and that's where we begin. And, you know, that's just one of the things that I share with my students.
Okay. Are you here in Philly?
I am based here in Philly, but I've been teaching. Like I said, I wasn't even teaching, man, for a little while. And someone hit me to to this New York City program. They wanted to fund artists, and I am an actor by trade and by profession. And they were looking for artists, and I put my name out there. I got hired, man, and it's been so fulfilling. I can't even explain it, man. And the children, I mean, I'm teaching theater remotely, and I thought it would be so difficult. The children love coming to my class. It's been so surprising that they want to see me, you know, and they want me to share what I have, and they feel my energy. I think that's what it is. They feel that you know, I want them to learn, and I'm giving them my all, man. I'm giving them my all.
Well, I appreciate that, brother. I just want to slide you my email address. I actually have on and off talk with Diane Leslie about doing some projects where we bring that kind of energy, but my focus is really on brothers who are incarcerated and brothers who are kind of, you know, out. We would consider them kind of in the juvenile justice system, maybe at risk and doing some things. But I think that there's some elements around creative expression and giving these brothers a way of really having their voices heard in a more powerful way that could mitigate a lot of this these other cries for attention that I think that they're bringing into the village, that if they had another way of expressing their true issues, wouldn't result in what is resulting in. So I would love, if you're interested, to sit down and maybe interview you and kind of build a little bit about some ways we can approach them.
Oh, absolutely. And what I'm going to
Yes,
do is I'm going to get your email off the air because I'm driving right now, but when I hang up,
I'm going to just
put it right in my phone.
It's the easiest thing for you to remember. I'm Brother Shamari at WURDradio.com. So if you could just, it's the easiest way. And if not, if I get your name, I'll loop back to you, my brother. But I'm interested in bringing the power of what you're bringing to the spaces and places in our community that need it the most.
Absolutely. Brother Shamari at WURD.com, man. Nice speaking with you. Have a great one.
WURDradio.com. Make sure you put the radio in there.
Okay, WURD Radio. All right.
Appreciate you, my brother. And again, if you want to join our conversation, 215-634-8065, toll free 866-361-0900. I know the fact that I've always felt like I had a voice ever since I've been a young brother, age of 10 years old, probably even sooner. I always felt like and knew that, and it's been affirmed for me that I had a voice. I don't mean like a nice sounding voice. I always, like the brother said, command the room, command the stage. You deserve to be heard. Your voice matters. Your presence matters. That's always been affirmed for me since I've been 10 years old. Whether it's because I was doing a lay message in the church, or on a day like Easter Sunday, or for that Good Friday where you do the 7 last words, or acting in school plays, or whatever, man. Knowing that you could walk into a room and you can express yourself, be it artistically, politically, verbally, through drawing, through poetry, whatever it was. There was outlets, there was places of release, but not only just release for release sake. People listened to me. They didn't necessarily have to agree with me, but I knew I wasn't ignored. I think that's the word I'm looking for. I knew that I was paid attention to. Al Jarreau has one of my favorite songs, and I'm hoping, Ngake can find it. I hope she finds the clean version, because there's a version in there I don't want the F-bomb drop. But it's called You Don't See Me. And the thing is, you don't see me, you don't want to see me. And it's a song, it's a lament about the fact that I've been trying to cry for your attention. You haven't given it to me, so maybe you will see me now. And now is, again, doing all of the destructive things that we see happening in the village. And so I think our children are crying for our attention. And like when a baby cries for attention, it's not just the attention, it's also they're crying because they might be hungry. They might need to be held. They might need to be fed. They need to be seen. They might need to be protected. They need to be affirmed. And if we don't provide that, that void will be filled through another means. That's just the way psychology, it's just the way spirituality, it's just the way that humanity works. And so, I've been on this tirade because I'm tired of people talking about senseless violence. No, if you actually let yourself be human, as much as you disagree with it, as much as it hurts your soul and repels your sense of humanity, what's going on out here in our streets actually makes sense. It's not senseless. And one of the things we have to do as a village is to respect, recognize, and hold in regard ourselves and our children again. You don't see me when I'm trying to do right, then maybe you will see me now. And now is all types of the ridiculous behaviors that we are tolerating or being imposed, that are being imposed upon us in the village. Take, for instance, this Lil Nas dude with these sneakers and the Saturday Night Live skit and all of that. That's attention seeking. Somehow we want to look at that and act like that's normal behavior and it's just somebody express. No, that's a person who clearly has had a void around being affirmed from his parents and his village and the people he thought was supposed to love him. And now he has the enemies of our people rewarding him for some of the most toxic displays of behavior imaginable. That's pretty much what happens in all of popular culture right now. Our children have been turned against the village, and the adversaries of our people are paying attention, and they're giving them respect, recognition, reward, and regard. To be minstrels or monsters to the village. And the only way we can step in and repair that breach is to exert our power as a village. The mamas, the babas, the leaders, the followers, the organizations, the spiritual persons, the ministers, it does not matter, the teachers. When and how have we shown our power for Black children? And in 2021, when and how should we show our power for Black children? Because if we don't do it, that attachment, that belonging, that connection, that direction void will be filled. And it's not going to be filled, it's not being filled by people who have, or a culture that has our best interest in mind. It's being filled by the enemies of our culture, which is why I say if we don't use our power and we don't purpose the power, that power becomes possessed. And right now it's possessed by people who want to see our village become a terror dome. And it's up to the village to walk in and step into that space and to do so powerfully. Where have we done it? Where must we do it? 215-634-8065. Toll free. 866-361-0900. Let's go to Rosalind, line 2. Greetings.
Yes, praise the Lord, my brother. Loving every bit of it. And WURD thing. The power is within the person. Education is the key to everything. The same way grandmom and great-grandmom taught us, and they didn't get but a third-grade education, is what we have to do for us. Now, they graduate in 12th grade and don't even know how many dollars in a $5 bill. But you can tell us everything when it comes to the computers. But if I take you to the market, you don't know how much you need to buy for milk, deodorant, or et cetera, to last you through the month. Say, for instance, this stimulus check we get ready to get. If we don't exercise that money and put that money where we really need it back into the community, Freedom Theater, WURD, what else I'm missing? WURD, Freedom Theater, Uptown. That's an investment right there. There's the building.
What was the last one you said? I didn't hear that.
Uptown.
Uptown. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Freedom Theater, Uptown, WURD. And my son got Tim Bossman Allen, undisputed record, 12,000 square feet. He teaches people how to become entrepreneur. I did talk to Mama Gail. She was supposed to meet, but I want us to jump on board. Even though I only got a 9th grade education, I was hands-on hand. 35 years with Kentucky Fried and McDonald's. And I learned home economics, wood shop, metal shop, cooking class, everything from starter class, and then I went to Penn and ran all the kitchens. So just that little bit of knowledge right there can take care of a whole village by itself.
So let me ask you, Ms. Rosalind, is there a historical moment in the city of Philadelphia over the last 50 years where you've seen the Black community, the Black village, step up and show their power for Black children?
No, not the way I would like it to be, but we do have a lot going on when it comes to the younger generation, like what it was self-sufficient with OIC, with Temple University community, getting your GED. But everything is not for everybody. So what I'm saying, like the grandmoms, and I'm a great-grandmom and only went to 9th grade, went to 10th, dropped out, but still got a couple of certificates. Now it's technology for the system trying to keep us back the way they want to keep us back. No, we need to educate ourselves. take the kitchen. If you take everything out of the kitchen, whether it's canned goods, the refrigerator, whatever, and you tell each child, build me a project, what's your goal? Simple right there. If they can add, they can subtract, and they can sell drugs and do this, and they can buy clothes, whatever, you can start making a project of what you want for the future, and that's your empire right there.
All right. I thank you. It's there for us to do. We just have to have
left my
the will
number
to do
for
it.
you, too.
Okay. Looking
We got
forward.
the space is to go get out and snap. Like here in Kensington, I don't get out much, but I know a lot of the homeless people, and before I throw away some food, I'll give it to them or whatever. And people do want help. And a lot of homeless people, they are educated ones. Before I even came down this way, most of the homeless people that were rich was in the city.
Yeah, we just have to have the will to get out there and marshal our talents on behalf of our cause, Mama Rosalind. So I agree with you, and I thank you for your call. Appreciate it. Let's go to Cliff, line 1. Cliff, line 1.
Yes, thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it. Happy Easter to you, brother.
Okay, thank you.
So are you going to say that back to me?
Okay, since you're forcing me, yes. Happy Easter to you, Cliff.
Brother, this is what I'm saying. This is my whole point. What I'm saying about is that I have ambivalent feelings towards this whole Easter thing. You know what I mean? Number one, why is we as black people
why you put me on the spot then?
Yo, I'm just saying, why is we as people, man, black people engaging in a tradition, particularly with Easter bunnies, eggs? You know what I'm saying?
Why'd you put me in that spot?
Well, because I'm saying this because, man, Trump said Happy Easter. I'm watching this George Floyd case, man, and brother, this is hurting me dearly. You know, these individuals, man, you know, Minister Farrakhan called them devils. You can see why. You know, we have all of America saying Happy Easter, you know, in the name of Jesus, but yet really, are we really, if you really truly love Jesus, why would you treat a people the way you do? And simply saying that we as black people have to separate ourselves from these customs and these traditions that are made and created by our enemies. Once we do that, brother.
Right, go ahead.
Once we do that, we will elevate to a certain higher level of existence and being self-sufficient and being self-supportive. We are suffering because of the fact that, in my opinion, because we are engaging in the worship of our enemies who are oppressing us and cause harm to us. Why do we do this?
Well, you know, we do it because we've been conditioned to do it, number one. That's why we do it. We've sent our minds to be educated and socialized by the people we call our enemies. And so that's why we do it. But you bring, it's funny because that's going to be my focus coming back after break. It's interesting. We're victimized by what we worship and what we revere and what we pay attention to. And I don't think we know the origin stories of most of what we follow. And so we're kind of victimized by this thing we call Happy Easter and Christianity, among many other things, man. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit when we come back from commercial break, because we don't know the backstories. So it goes back to what Stevie Wonder said. We're believing in things that we don't understand. And it's not just Christianity. It's almost everything we believe in. We don't understand it. So we're just following our own destruction because somebody told us that that's what we're supposed to do, because they have possession of our minds and of our mindset. So, you know, that's what we're going to have to get into this. We're going to get into it a little bit. When we come back, I'm going to take a little time and I'm going to lay out the attack against the family by laying out 4 core family structures that we need to pay attention to. And these family structures undergird pretty much 80 to 90% of all of the story narratives around black people that we're dealing with right now. Then I'm going to pick up a little bit with this on Friday to kind of put the policy context. But all policy is a story enacted. All policy is a story, a set of principles, profiles that get enacted and become the guidelines for how you govern large demographics of people. But I'm going to go back because we skip over the philosophical stories that underlie a lot of the policies that we are victimized by. So I'm going to jump into that a little bit since Brother Cliff called after we come back from commercial. But before we go to commercial, I'm hoping and wondering if Sister Ngakia got my Al Jarreau up because I want to hear a little bit of You Don't See Me going into commercial break. So if you have that, Ngakia, if you could please play it.
I have it.
Yeah, just drop that on me. How you doing, Ngakia?
I'm okay, really busy. I also just started working with Vicky Leach on her show, The Electric Magazine, on Saturdays. So WURD likes me, I guess.
That's good. That's good. You get more and more into the family and into the mix. That's always a good thing.
Yeah. I hope I get to stay.
So you found the song?
Yeah, I did, and I'll play it.
Actually, is there any way we can go to commercial break and then play it on the other side of commercial before I get into the Sunday school with Brother Shamari?
Okay, no problem. So I'll play the first half into the commercial break right now.
All right. Appreciate
it. When I was walking, patting my feet on the pavement, really, truly trying to find me a gig. Well, did you stand up and speak out in my favor? Cold desperation, she's a devil in bed, scratching till my bones are bare. Pills and needles are all I've left to save her. No, you don't see song and move on along. It has a good in it, you don't want to see me, and you don't want to see me. It has a good in it, you don't want to say about seeing me, and you don't want to see me. It has a good in it that you don't see me, and you don't want to see me. It has a good in it that you don't see me, that you don't want to see me. It has a good in it that you don't see me, that you don't want to see me. It has a good in it that you don't see me, that you don't want to see me. It has a good in it that you don't see me, that you don't want to see me. It has a good in it that you don't see me. That you don't want to see me, say you don't see me. When I'm trying to do right, maybe you're gonna see me now. Don't see me. When I be trying to do right, maybe you're gonna see me now. That's a bad. When I was walking, patting my feet on the pavement, really truly trying to find a gig. Well, did you stand up and speak out in my favor? Cold desperation, she's a devil in bed, scratching till my bones are bare. Pills and needles are all I've left to save her. You don't see where I'm trying to do it.
Recovery starts with a call. Pennsylvania's Substance Use Disorder Hotline is staffed by real people who are trained to help. They're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll get you or your loved one into treatment regardless of your access to insurance. If you or someone you know is suffering from addiction, call 1-800-662-HELP. Recovery starts with a call.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Want the latest in WURD swag? Check out the shop tab on WURDradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WURDradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black. Talk media. Groundings with Brother Shamari. Right now on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com.
I'm trying to do right, lady. You're gonna see me now. We were walking. walking, and I told you of how my shoes are wearing thin. You took your surplus and traded for a favor. Now I'm demented, I'm done to a cinder. 40 hours buys a grocery bag for trash. Took a pistol and I made myself a sinner. With the universe, I've been merciful and less. Don't you know, I try hard, try to keep myself together. Don't do nobody wrong, don't hurt nobody. But the things we don't around, can't touch my pistol sinner. Will the universe be merciful at last? You don't see me, you don't see me. I'm tired of trying to attract your attention. See the man at the drugstore. But you don't see me when I'm trying to do right, lady. So you're gonna see me now. Don't see me when I be trying to do right, baby. You're gonna see me now. Hella good to me that you do. It's hella good to me that you do. Got that to see me, that you do. Don't want to see me. And hella good to me that you do. To see me, that you do. Don't want to see me. And hella good to me that you do. To see me, don't want you say that you do. Don't want to see me. And hella good to me that you should go right ahead. Go ahead. I know you gon' go ahead. You gon' do what you gon' do, yeah. Giant sucker, you. I see you, I want you. You take the money and run. Even got the groceries and running too. And you're running and hiding and ducking and hiding. I call you on the phone, can't find you nowhere. That's all right though. You don't I'll beat your mama, I'll beat your daddy. I go to jail. It don't make no good difference what happened to me. Got to be there in my own time, in my own way. Cause I found out that you don't see me. You don't see me up in your mirror. You don't see that don't see that. Don't see what I'm trying to do. Maybe you see me now. Don't see me when I'm trying to do right, baby. Yeah, don't see me now. Please, somebody. Don't see me when I'm trying to do right, baby. You don't see me when I'm trying to do right, baby. You can see me now.
Hey, welcome back to Groundings, Evolutions, Elevations with Brother Shamari. The man told you, you don't see me when I'm trying to do right. Maybe you will see me now. You don't see me when you look up in your mirror. We need to see our children. We need to recognize, respect, reward, and regard our people. If the village is not the source of that for the villagers, then that void will be filled. That vulnerability will be addressed. And in this society is being addressed by systems, by structures, by processes and policies that don't have our best interest at heart. So I want to talk a little bit about where that comes from. And so when you hear Groundings every Friday, we begin with a libation statement, and it says that there's a war against African culture, and more specifically against the African black family. Those are the words of John Henrik Clarke. So I want to just set out the contours, sketches on soul power, the contours of this war. We'll go into a lot more about the policy implications of this on Friday's episode of Groundings in the segment we call Shamare Shule. I just want to lay this out. So right now, get your notes, get your pens, get your paper, because I want you to do some homework before we come back on Friday. There are 4 family structures that I want us to be aware of that are operational, in my opinion. And if you understand the backstory of these family structures, you will understand the war, for lack of a better word, going on for the heart, the mind, the soul, the spirit of our people. So I want to start with, I think I saved the two. I'll start here. So number one, you have the Christian family. So I'll start here since it's Easter. That would be Mary, Jesus, and Joseph. But actually, Joseph has been negated. You heard me use the word negation earlier, hopefully, and replaced by, ostensibly in the story, God. So you really have God, the Father, Mary, the Mother, and Jesus. And in the earthly realm, that story ends in a crucifixion of Jesus. Now, in the spiritual realm, you can tell me about going into the bowels of hell and fighting Satan and the resurrection, and I got all of that. But right now, I'm focusing on the physical realm, and that story ends with a crucifixion. That is what, Friday was about. Why it's Good Friday, y'all got to deal with that psychology. And then today is the beginning of the ascension into the resurrected realm. So that's one family, and that's one family story that we'll dissect from a political policy level on Friday. But that story is important. When you saw Derek Chauvin kneel on the neck of George Floyd until George Floyd suffocated in front of what ends up being millions of people, but at that time were dozens of people who were filming it. You saw Derek Chauvin crucify George Floyd. Same way you saw George Zimmerman crucify Trayvon Martin, or the officer whose name I forget, crucify Mike Brown. You got to recall that the crucifixion aspect of it is a black man who is deemed an enemy of the state, an insurrectionist or a seditionist, being crucified by some apparatus of the state for that resistance. So I'm going to just put it there. Christianity, we're dealing with God, who comes in and moves Joseph out the way, the Father, Mary, the Mother, Jesus, the sacrifice, the crucified one. One family structure. Keep it there. Remember it. We will come back to it. Let's move on over here. This is going to end up being a diamond-shaped family structure that I want us to deal with. So now I'm on this side of the diamond. A Greek family structure that we're all familiar with, because these stories are the essence of what ends up being psychology, and particularly psychotherapy as brought to us by Sigmund Freud in the early 1900s. And that is based on a family structure called the Oedipus complex. There's the father, Laius, Laius. The mother, Jocasta, Jocasta or Jacosta. I can't remember which way that's spelled. And then the child, Oedipus. And most of us will talk about the Oedipus complex as it relates to Oedipus, the son, desiring his mother. It's more to it than that. Go back, and that's why I want to give you these names. Go back and read the story of Laius, Jocasta, and Oedipus. And because I'm focusing on the negation of the father and then the role that the mother has to assume as a result of that negation, focus on Laius. And I'll give you a hint. because Laos's story begins the curse and why that relationship in the family unit is seen as a curse. Laos was the son of Labdacus. That was his father. His father was the king of Thebes. But his father died when Laos was young. Laos got usurped from the throne, and he was like a chariot tender. And in many ways, in these Greek stories, you got to get the tragedy. The tragedy is really the thing that becomes then the myth, because all of these are myths, by the way. And the myth then becomes the basis for the meaning of the psychotherapy or the psyche. So the myth becomes psycho-spiritual. Laos was a chariot trainer. He taught you how to ride chariots. And the king had an illegitimate son. His son's name was Chrysippus or something like that. Chrysippus, C-H-R-Y, Chrysippus. Laos rapes Chrysippus. He fell in love with him, quote unquote, and he kidnapped him, and then he rapes him. And as part of the price, the revenge, there's a curse that's put on the lineage of Laos. Similar to how when you read the Bible, there's supposedly this curse of Ham. Well, there's the curse on Laos, which then results in Oedipus killing him and then marrying his mother, Jocasta. And that's the basis of the Oedipus complex, which is the basis of psychotherapy, European psychotherapy, that they use to diagnose family dynamics. That's the second family. Put a comma there. Now, let's move to the African, the Kemetic family structure that has 3 players in it. Because we're talking about village building, and part of village building is to rebuild the family. But you got to understand the functional stories of family that are operating in our space if we're going to resurrect Messiah correctly. Asar, the father. Aset, the mother. Heru, the child. Again, Asar gets negated, diminished, removed by his brother Set, who rips him up into 14 pieces. And, you know, we don't know the story, but hopefully by Friday you'll know some elements of the story because we're going to pick it up from there. And so Aset is left to bring Heru and to make Heru the Messiah. And we'll talk about what Messiah really means because we have a very weird connotation of it now. But what it means is anointed one or anointed king. So Heru was divinely created for the purpose of resurrecting his father's authority over the kingdom. And at his height, Heru, as Messiah, is the Lord of the overworld or the lived reality of the kingdom. And he makes his father the ruler of the underworld, which y'all would call now heaven and stuff. But in the Kemetic terminology, actually, you went into the underworld to live your afterlife. And Asar became the ruler of the underworld. And Aset has Queen Mother positioned in both of those worlds because she's the powerful one. That's why the queen moves so powerfully on the chessboard, because from an African tradition, there's a lot of power that rests in that mother-queen role. Very different than how the queen is played in any of these other family scenarios. And then last but not least, I want you to think about the plantation and how that Asar Aset story, Heru, gets diminished into the plantation family, which is headed by Mammy, because Mammy replaces the father role. The father is Sambo, or you could pick any other stereotype, but I'm going with Mammy, Sambo, and they give birth to the Pickaninny as the stereotype or the archetype of the child on the plantation setting. So we move from a Messiah Heru to a little Pickaninny, like Lil Nas or Cardi B or any of these other little children running around that we want to act like, you know, that's popular culture, but they have a purpose. and the wars against the structure of the African family. And these 4 family archetypes play key roles in this war and in our resurrection. If we're going to redeem our village, we have to resurrect the African family, and particularly in the archetype of Asar Aset Heru. And we live in a country where they crafted policies, COINTELPRO, the Kerner Commission, Moynihan Report, the list could go on. And those policies are designed to keep us in a Mammy, Sambo, Pickaninny family plantation reality, and never to arise to the Asar Aset Heru, Messiah, because the role of a powerful black family is to reproduce messiahs, such that the children are governors or lords of the overworld, the lived world, and the ancestors, the remembered ones, the culture, governs our psycho-spiritual world. We've been removed off of that throne, replaced by Mammy, Sambo, and Pickaninny, and we're perishing as a result of that family, that dysfunctional family replacement. Psychologically, we're acting like Laos, Jocasta, Oedipus. Spiritually, we should be Asar Aset Heru. Practically and functionally right now, through our popular culture and lived reality, that Negro thing we're doing, we're acting like Sambo, Mammy, and Pickaninnies. And we're psycho-spiritually duped into the idea that our highest example is sacrifice and crucifixion and suffering by way of the God, Mary, Jesus crucifixion story. We think that that actually is our salvation. That's the quandary, the family quandary that we find ourselves in. And we got to figure out how we shake those shackles off. Spread love. Greetings.
God bless, Brother Shamari. How you making out, family?
I'm doing pretty good, sir.
Give God the glory. How's the family?
Everybody's good so far.
All right, give thanks. I'm happy to hear that. God bless you for the work in the show. God bless Empress and Gakia on the boards. Always doing an amazing job. The entire WRD family. Everyone's suffering right now. You know, our hearts, thoughts, and prayers are with them. And everyone working to make it better, like yourself. Everyone that contributed today. Always give some love to Pop-Pop. Grow something, Pop-Pop know something. Always doing an amazing job. Everyone incarcerated, especially all of us incarcerated falsely. Free Mamiya. And I ain't really going to say too much but that, really, honestly.
Okay.
Have I seen personally a collective effort of elders stepping up to the bat for the youth? Not on a whole scale, personally. I see it in pockets.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Some here, some there, which is good, thankfully. I think the world is different now. We have more things that pull us away individually.
Right.
So we have to take that into context when we describe what we're doing. I hope we could come up with a solution and a way for us to collectivize our camaraderie.
Right.
So that we can present a united front, or that we don't front, so that we can present a united body. Because that's what John Christ's all about, resurrection of the body. You know what I mean? You read your book. Every thought, you know what I mean? Cornerstone. Then you got the stones as a lively temple. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I hear you, brother. We're going to get into it. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
All right. But now, hold tight.
Let me know where we should, because I'm coming up on a break, and last segment is coming up.
So we should tell our children the truth about these perverts. They call themselves politicians and celebrities. They ain't nothing but some sinister Satanists. And everybody want to tiptoe around the tulips and pull punches instead of calling a spade a spade. I'm down with calling a spade a spade.
And we end up then supporting and thinking that demonic stuff is legitimate that's happening right in front of our faces. It's time for us to step into the middle of this ring and middle of this battle and step into it hard with an intention to win. Let me squeeze Rick in before we go to commercial break. Rick from Germany, greetings.
Good afternoon and good evening, Brother Shamari. Thank you for letting me put the question to Pop Grows Something. And in this comment, this question, I would say to you, urban poor communities, especially the black male, but a growing number of females, are resisting the gay agenda and therefore being put out of government jobs, public schools, and medicine. Where do you think where do you think we are going to go in psychiatry and psychology in resisting the gay agenda?
We're gonna have to create where we're going, which is why we need to have this conversation, because we have, and that's why I laid out those forms. You got to understand, in those stories is actually the reality. And you mentioned psychiatry and psychology. That's the field where, there's no space right now for us talking about functional black family development from a perspective of Asar Aset Heru, or I could use other African themed family structures, but I think that's one of the more powerful ones. And so we got to create our space where we legitimize and sanction our own stories. That's what this whole framing is about. These policies that we're victimized by are designed and emanate from these very stories that I'm about to jump into, particularly the Greek story, Laos, Jocasta, and Oedipus, and or the Christian story, replace Joseph with, a force called God, negated woman called Mary, who's only a vessel, right? You don't really know much about who she was and what her purpose was, such that you can raise a sacrifice called Jesus. And then all of that gets embedded into a plantation psychology where the goal of psychiatry is to reinforce Mammy and Sambo. And Mammy and Sambo produce pickaninnies. They produce people who are allowed to be counterproductive in any particular way. You can put any particular name on it. Toxic masculinity, all of it. When you have a culture that's being produced from a plantation mindset, and that plantation mindset is enmeshed as we described it, then you're going to have actions and activities that are outside of a cultural definition that we don't control. And so we could talk a lot more about it, because I think it's time to talk about it. Often in spaces that we have, we're not allowed to, and we're going to pay a price. But when I watch and listen to, there's a song out, Cardi B, Bodak Yellow. When I listen to the hip hop music that glorifies us killing each other, and everybody can call that toxic masculinity and hyper masculine, and it's derogatory. The songs that are degrading and derogatory to black women and black elders. And you begin to watch, somebody marketing sneakers with blood in them, with a whole kind of aesthetic that's about worshiping Satan. Like, when do we have enough heart to say there is an agenda? Now, you can call it what you want to, but clearly there is an anti-black life agenda in what is being marketed to our people as entertainment and culture and psychology and psychiatry. When do we have enough dignity as black people to say, hey, no, it's time for us to put some brakes on this, question it, resist some of it, resist a lot of it, and to create and recenter and reground and evolve and elevate our work within the basis of our culture that matters for us. If we're scared to have that conversation, then we can't say that we are powerfully acting as our own people. And right now we live in a culture that has sanctioned us so much that we don't even have spaces and places to have the conversation. So we'll figure out what agenda it is. I'm telling you, it's an agenda. And we're going to stop running from that. And I'm going to tell you that it's an agenda that we need to deal with, because some of the energy behind that agenda were victimized by this very agenda almost 70, 80 years ago in something we call the Holocaust. people understand the power of having your story and your image and your narratives manipulated in such a way that communities get decimated as a result of this manipulation. And then we're here and we're watching the same thing that happened to them happen to us through them. It's time for us to address that. Pop, let's close out on you, because I don't even know if I have time. Actually, no. Let's go to commercial break, and when we come back, Pop, grow something. I'm going to close us out with the final story of the day.
You probably heard it before, but one of the best ways to stay safe from COVID is by avoiding crowds. That's better. Also, when you're out in public, make sure you stay 6 feet away from strangers or people you don't live with. It's okay to say, "Can I have some space, please?"
Well, it's going to be a beautiful sunny day today, and we can expect much.
If you're gonna have a get-together with friends and family, have it outside. And remember to keep those 6 feet of social distance. And last but not least, wear a mask that covers your nose and mouth with no gaps. They slow the spread of COVID or new forms of the virus called variants. And make sure you get your vaccine when it's your turn. We're all out here trying our best, and it's making a difference. We just gotta keep it up. We can do this.
To learn more about slowing the spread, visit cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
COVID-19 has changed how we live and how we feel. But now there are vaccines, and they are the first step that lets us get back to the things we miss most, like spreading the word without spreading concern, girls tripping instead of solo sipping, and talking smack with the side of mac and cheese. It's okay to have questions about COVID-19 vaccines. Now, get the facts. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when COVID-19 vaccines are available to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Groundings with Brother Shamari right now on WURD Radio and WURDRadio.com.
Papa.
Pop, grow something in the beginning, but by the time I get grounded, Pop knows something. So look, this is how it goes. They're making a movie about the Fletcher Street Stables, the Black Cowboys here in Philadelphia. Idris Elba's in it. So when I saw that and I saw him on that horse on the newspaper, it reminded me of, again, my Pop grow something, because I learned everything from him. I had an uncle who was a black cowboy way back in the day. His name is William Cooper from South Carolina. He rode horses, raised in South Carolina, raised on the land. They own their land, rode horses, built houses. He was strong. He didn't have that college degree, no. He didn't have that 12, no. But he knew common sense. So in the Black Cowboys, he rode a prize horse. He groomed that horse, took care of that horse. He took care of all the horses. He communicated with the horses because he was like that. Because like I said earlier, his heart was like gold. His heart had love. So he could communicate with everybody and everything. So one day, that horse got away and was lost. But my Uncle William, he was smiling about it. And they came to him, they said, you know, William, I might have called him Coop. Coop, your horse is gone. That's your prize horse. Your horse is lost. Why are you acting like ain't nothing happening? Why are you smiling? And he looked at him. He said, I'm smiling because if I was on that horse, I'd be lost too. So look, what I learned today was we got those horses. We had the horses. We had schools. We had businesses to support the schools. We had cultural institutions, cultural establishment. We were on the front line Cecil B. Moore, we was doing the things for the children. The horse got away. But if the horse gets away, we can't be lost. Don't let us lose ourselves because our horses got lost. Let us keep in mind what we're supposed to do, and let us learn from the children. Because this is a computer age now. They dealing with the computer. So let the children teach us so that we can teach the children. That's the circle of knowledge that must go around. That's what I learned tonight. Groundings. Pop, learn something, know something. Pop, grow something. I'm going to say peace to y'all till I tell a story next week. Brother Shamar.
Know something. Thank you for joining us. I always forget, not always forget, but I forgot my brother David Barnes letting us know what's coming up on the New World View. Brother David, are you still there?
Yes, I'm right here, brother Shamar. Peace. I see you.
I'm blaming Ngaki. She didn't let me know you were there.
I was going to ask. I said, did you let Shamari know I'm here? I've been here 3 days already. I've been here 19 years for this. You know, today's my anniversary here, 19 years at WURD. Man. That's right.
So you're the official old head, huh?
I'm one of the last 3 originals.
Okay. Who else is remaining?
Vicky Leach, she was here from the beginning, as well as Lloyd Cummins. And myself. You know, Cody was, and then Joey T was as well, but, you know, we just lost them. But tonight we're featuring Professor Carl Tone Jones. We're going to be talking about his 2020 through the eyes of a social media revolutionary, and also, you know, current events both here in America and in Africa. Then we're going to be, at 9 o'clock, I'll talk to Phil Washington with our health management program. And at 10 o'clock, we have our Afrobeat after party.
All right, sounds like a powerful show.
I'm celebrating. That's right.
And again, join me on Friday, y'all, 1 o'clock, where we pick up on the policy ramification of those 4 archetypal, I think I'm saying the word right, archetypal family structures that we're going to delve into a lot more, and what the policy implications are when those narratives determine how Black families are impacted upon in these United States of America. Talk to you then on Groundings, Evolutions, Elevations with Brother Shamari. Peace.
This is a rhythm of warriors.